So this is the lighter side with Dr. Ariel Ortiz. I am a bariatric surgeon, but I'm also an ambassador for health through metabolic wellness. And metabolic wellness, you guys all know that it means that it's being free from all these modern diseases that we're getting through what we eat. Nobody cares really about us. The food industry doesn't care about us. Your local supermarket don't care about you. The food processing industry doesn't care about you. Your government doesn't care about you. You got to care for yourself. And unfortunately, when 9 out of 10 people have metabolic disease in the adult population in the U.S. and other countries in the world, we're doomed. So we got to do something. But anyways, today we have our special guest. It is an awesome interview because, well, there's this huge transformation. Natalie, welcome to the lighter side.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to chat about my story.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. So, how did this story start?
Um, well, it actually started way back in 2009. I've always been obese. I've always struggled with obesity from the time I was born. I was born without the chemical in my brain to tell me I was full. So I was constantly told I was hungry. So I was constantly eating or thinking about food. I got up to 350 by the time I was 15. So you can imagine that was concerning. And my doctor suggested to get the lap band surgery. This was when it was kind of becoming more popular of a surgery. And I got the surgery, got the lap band, was very successful, lost over 100 pounds. And then I had some pretty severe complications with that. It had slipped and started eroding at my stomach. And so I became malnourished, as well as there was obviously concern for my internal organs. So I had to have it removed. And that was pretty traumatic as a 16-year-old to have to go through that. So then, recovered for about a year, and my surgeon suggested getting the plication done just to help maintain my weight loss. And so I had that done when I was 18 in 2011. And I never felt any restriction with it. I never felt any of the things that I feel now with the sleeve. And I ended up gaining all of my weight back and then some over the last 10 years. And it was very disheartening. It was very it just makes you feel poorly about yourself that, I had two bariatric surgeries that didn't work. And last year, I was at the highest weight I've ever been. The highest recorded weight was 403 pounds. And my grandma had passed away. And we sat around this table and we were talking about all the things that she had been doing, all of the amazing places she had been, and all of the just amazing journeys and adventures she's been on. And I just realized that I want to have that same talk around the table when I'm gone. I want to be able to go places and do things, but you can't really do that when you're 403 pounds. And my mom actually found the Obesity Control Center and saw you and just thought, why don't we try Mexico? We've had some failed attempts in the States. Let's see what the options are. I spoke with you, Dr. Ortiz. You called me and we had a conversation about my past, and you gave me that hope that this would really work for me. And July 1st of 2020 was the first day of my extended pre-op diet, and now I'm here. It's been kind of a whirlwind.
So, tell us about that. How has it been?
It's been amazing. Your support program from day one. I mean, before day one, even just getting the information and reassurance that this could actually work for me has been amazing. But especially in those pre-op stages and newly post-op stages, to get those emails all the time, guiding you through, even though we're a country apart essentially, has been really, really helpful. And just the breakdowns, the scientific breakdowns of why we need to eat certain ways helped me kind of understand my body better, and prepare me for such a drastic life change. But that pre-op process really, I think, really set me up, and it's something that I've never seen done before.
So you have, I mean, you have this ability to have a comparison point because you've undergone two procedures in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any type of structured program or preparation with those procedures, or something comparable to what we're trying to offer you right now?
No, they really, the pre-op stages were somewhat educational. They were, this is what the surgery is. This is how you should eat. Um, but it wasn't like daily check-ins like you get with OCC in your program. You get, you didn't get those daily check-ins, weekly check-ins. You kind of got monthly check-ins every, like during the 6 month time period. But there was no real 24/7 support. Like I feel like I could just email Lucia and she would give me a plan of how to help combat my sugar cravings, or it's, you don't really have that all in one access. And then post op, it's even less. At least for me, I didn't get that follow up. We got once a month after, for the first 6 months, and then after that it was once a year, if that. And you just didn't really get the, um, essentially the hand holding that you kind of do need when you're getting to learn about your new stomach and your new life. You didn't really get that.
So one of the fears patients express, or let's say candidates that are seeking surgery and they find a different country, Mexico, outside their own country. One of the fears is that, oh, but it's so far away. Was that a fear for you when you initially started, and has that changed in any way?
I would say that was a fear for me initially. I think it's always a concern when your home surgeon isn't in your country. It's a little, there's a little bit of a disconnect there at first. But I did have some issues post-op. I had a very heavy like menstrual cycle that was pretty scary, but I just called you guys. You kind of walked me through if I needed to come back or anything like that. And ever since that moment, it reassured me that you guys are still there for me. If I need to come back, I can. It's no different than me, you know, going back to my hospital if I need help. It's a little bit farther away, but it's no different than if I was to do that here.
Exactly. So tell me about the weight then. How has it progressed?
Yeah, so during my pre-op program, I lost 50 pounds, which, uh,
Wow, girl.
listen, I don't really
Over
know. I mean, I do know how it
overachiever you.
happened, but it's the first time ever that I have lost that much weight in that small amount of time. And I think it boosted my morale, to know that okay, I can do this. I can be successful after surgery. Post-op, I have lost a little over 80 pounds, so a total of 130, which is
Damn.
insane.
Wonderful. In what period of time?
In a year, so I'm counting including my pre-op
Yeah, yeah,
process.
130
So
pounds in a year. Wow. So,
yeah.
what is your weight loss goal? How many more pounds to reach your weight loss goal?
So I'm about 50 pounds, a little less than 50 pounds away from the goal that OCC set me. And then I would like to get to 200 pounds. I don't really feel the need to get below 200 personally. But to get there would be pretty cool. I haven't been 200 pounds since high school. So that was just kind of my own mental goal.
So you look awesome. So how has it changed now that you're at this level of weight? Has your lifestyle changed in any way?
Oh yeah, definitely. I actually went kayaking for the first time a couple months ago. I'd never been kayaking. And that was so much fun. I am now obsessed with kayaking and anything on the water. Um, I also just love walking. Something I was talking about the other day was I used to hate going for walks. I did it because it's something that is good for you. But now it's like 4:30 comes after work. I am ready. I am ready for my daily walk. And I walk 30 to 60 minutes every single day because I enjoy it. And that is a new a new thing for me to love moving my body and um, doing things because I can and because I want to.
Now, you're really young, but did that excess weight in any way cause discomfort, symptoms, pain, stuff like that? And has that changed?
Oh yeah, definitely. I struggled with a lot of aching back pain, aching like joint discomfort, just overall never feeling good. I never knew what it felt like to feel good. I also struggled with headaches a lot, um, and just overall feeling sluggish and just not well, which is not something that you want when you're in your 20s to feel. And um, my joint pain has definitely gotten better. I definitely have to go to the chiropractor because, you know, when you lose a ton of weight, your joints kind of resettle. So my joint pain isn't totally gone, but general aches and pains and feelings of just general discomfort, my headaches, those types of things are gone, which is a surreal feeling.
Yeah, and it gives you the ability to do all these other activities. It's just
Yeah,
liberating.
it is. It's so freeing. I was just with all of my family for the first time in a couple years because of COVID, and we hung out around the 4th of July and we were just being silly and lighting off fireworks. And um, I remember not feeling like I was taking up too much space. Like I could just go and do things. And that was the most freeing feeling I felt in a very long time.
That's awesome. So, um, when we talk about the sleeve and a tool, and you talk about this pre-op program and post-op education program, that I'm very proud of it because, well, I mean, I know that it's a tool and it needs an instruction manual.
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned? What can you tell those that are viewing? What have you learned over the months about your relationship with food and what good foods are and which ones you should keep away from?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I found is wholer foods, you know, whole proteins, whole fruits and vegetables make me feel better. And I can actually tell the difference between, you know, when I may be eating more processed things versus when I'm eating real whole foods. I never was able to tell the difference before. I think because my body was just always feeling bad and always um I always had an upset stomach. I always felt sluggish, so it was hard for me to differentiate. But now I do notice when I am maybe a little bit off track um or if I'm like really eating well and eating those whole foods, I can tell because I feel better. I'm more energetic and ready to go. As far as my relationship with food, I'm still battling it. You know, years of food addiction is hard to break in 1 year, but I learned that, you know, I can kind of stop myself and realize what I'm doing, maybe talk myself through why I am reaching for food in that moment and seeing if there are other ways I can cope. And before it was a haze and I couldn't differentiate or I couldn't understand that I was doing something um, in those food addiction habits. Um, so yeah, just knowing your body more is a huge life change from this program.
And our our director of nutrition and metabolic wellness, Lucia, she runs a very tight ship on what
Mhm.
you can eat and what you can't, and she gives a lot of tips. Any ones you remember or you fall back on?
Again, I think the one that I mostly fall back on is just the whole foods. Like, am I
Yeah,
eating real foods that I can see that they are what they are?
exactly.
Instead of, I think as bariatric patients, we do tend to get caught up in a lot of the pre-made proteins and things like that. But one thing that I appreciated was the focus on real whole foods. And that's something that I try if I feel like, oh, maybe I don't feel so good. I look around and I'm like, well, okay, what am I eating? What am I eating these whole foods, or am I eating kind of the pre-packaged protein snacks? And I think that's my biggest takeaway is just trying to focus more on those whole foods.
Now, obviously, people notice. I mean, they're looking at you and they're stopping right on their tracks. And it's like, holy moly, look at that. You look awesome. So, anything you can tell us about that? I mean, has there been people that have been surprised with your new physique?
Um, yeah, I mean, I have been very open. I something that I didn't do when I was younger with those previous surgeries was I kind of kept it hidden and I didn't want people to know. I feel like back then, especially, it was more of a taboo subject. So now I just kind of been very free and open with it. And I've actually had a lot of friends and even family members just say that they're interested in getting the surgery and they're interested in pursuing their options. And I think for me, that's been the the biggest response from people. But I have gotten a couple family members, like I said, we all got together over the 4th of July, and people are just happy. I think they like to see that you're doing stuff for yourself and to better yourself. And so it's been a lot of fun, just conversations, and of course I appreciate the comments, but the conversations have been really fun.
Well, you're the textbook definition of an influencer because
Yeah.
you are a metabolic wellness influencer and you're still in the journey.
Hmm.
But you've been through so much, and that's why at we designed a program called the OCC Influencer because we want to give you the tools to go back and tell everybody else, you know what, there is wellness just around the corner, and it really doesn't have to do anything with surgery. I mean, surgery is an option, but you can start off by, well, all these things that you've learned over the months, which is remove yourself from all these processed foods. That's a good start. That'll
Hmm.
kickstart your metabolism like crazy, and then you can start going on with the fine details that you've learned over the months, which is protein intake. Fat is better than carbs. Processed carbs are no-nos, and then the wellness of the gut bacteria and so much stuff that is available now online. But with all this noise out there, and you probably see it on social media, all these different diets and plans and juice and eat 10 times a day. Have you found yourself like saying, oh, wow, how wrong was I after you've learned this new information?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up around surrounded by diet culture. I was in Weight Watchers when I was 12. I was in Jenny Craig soon after that. I've been through every Atkins, anything you can name, I've been through it. And um it is sad that that is the information being thrown at people. And I do try to focus more on when I am talking to those who are maybe not even wanting to get the surgery, just wanting to be healthier. It's just eat simpler, just eat those whole foods, and you'll be fine. That's what our body needs. But yeah, I've done keto, which was an extreme. I've done no fat, which is also very extreme. I found that eating more of those healthy fats actually does give you more energy. It actually does make you feel better. All of these things. So yeah, I mean, the misinformation out there is just it's concerning, but I'm hoping that, you know, more like yourself and others can just help educate that, you know, it's all about that round balance.
Yeah, definitely. There is so much misinformation. That's why we created the ambassador program and the influencer program, and it's all based on the educational part that you've already received, which is the basic course, and we even created an advanced course online. So we'll soon to release it to our influencers and to anybody that wants to. And we really are talking about the science of eating, which is basically, in a nutshell, I tell patients I want to decarb your life, detox your life, and replenish your gut bacteria. So I'm concentrating on removing, especially the overload of carbs that we're eating, simply because we were fooled into believing that was healthy. Number two, eating food that is whole, like you said, but most importantly, that it's free of toxins, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, chemical fertilizers, plastics. So we should be very weary about what we're eating and what it's been in contact with. And last but not least, when you remove that toxic load, now your gut bacteria, which is living inside your organism, another organism, which helps you with so much stuff and prevents disease. That's already been proven. We try to nurture that bacteria inside your gut, which these are the three things that we concentrate on. Now, you did go to Mexico. Did you get any naysayers or critique that you went to Mexico? Why didn't you stay in the States? Whatever, stuff like that.
I did. And I had one person in particular. I was trying not to tell them until after because they are very alarmist, and they had found out and called me maybe a week before coming down. And I was on my liquid diet, so I was not the one to mess with at that time. I was cranky, so I was like, we're not doing this today. But yeah, I did get someone who well, make sure that you research and make sure that you know where you're going. And I said, well, I've been doing this for the last 3 months, and I'm pretty sure I have it researched, you know, pretty well. And you know, this, you know, place is highly recommended, you know, in the United States. And I just had to kind of throw back all of the accreditations and just reassure them that I did do my research. But that was the only one. Everyone else was very supportive, but there was one that was very alarmist with me, and I just had to give them the education, and that was it. That was that.
Yeah, and one of the things that has been questioned often is that once you have a surgery that failed, you have to go the bypass route. And then you get that bypass, which is a really aggressive. Was that ever even offered to you up in the States? And was that something that you wanted, or you're like, no, not at all?
Yeah, I would say I wasn't offered the option, but I was heavily pursuing gastric bypass because this was going to be my third surgery. I just thought, well, we might as well just do it, get it done with. And yeah, I thought that's what I wanted. And I remember speaking to you, and you had that program for the improved gastric sleeve, and reassured me that I didn't need to go to that extreme of the gastric bypass. And I'm really glad that I didn't. I'm glad that I I'm glad that I listened. So
And I'm glad you did, because you know what? It does happen. And that's very popular. That when somebody has a failed procedure like a gastric band, they end up with a gastric bypass, which is the other extreme end of things. And then the problem is that 30 or more of percent of or more of these fail down the down the line, these bypasses. And once you've done the most aggressive procedure, there's nothing left to do, nothing
mhm.
else left to do. And I mean, after 25,000 surgeries, and maybe 30% of my patients are revision surgeries coming from another center and they had a type of procedure, I don't do too many bypasses. Why? Because I give the lesser, more, less aggressive procedures a chance. And lo and behold, they actually do really well. So, talking about that specifically, and we're probably running out of time. This is the last couple of minutes. I want you to talk a little bit about the support system going forward. So, you're still a small a step away from reaching your weight loss goal, but I understand you're still in communication back to our nutrition team, and there's still
Mhm.
information that is valuable. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I also follow your Instagram. It's a fountain of knowledge as well, and having that support, knowing that I can contact Lucia or your medical team anytime if I have questions or concerns. That's not something I had before. I didn't have that free flowing, open line of communication, and now that I do have it, it definitely settles that anxiety that I have and have had in the past. But yeah, if I'm wondering, okay, so my weight has slowed down or my weight loss has slowed down, what can I do to kind of keep it going? I have like a full meal plan from Lucia or a full like suggestion list from Lucia. The online Facebook support groups are huge. I check those daily. People have questions. I scroll and I make sure that I read people's answers. And yeah, I mean, the support is just abundant. So it's been really great to be able to have that at my fingertips every day.
Natalie, this is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. There's a lot of people undergoing weight loss surgery around the world, and many that have failed, not because particularly it was something that they did, simply because some procedures fail, some people have complications, and there is an option there, as you have proven. You went through two weight loss surgeries in the U.S. and you ended up with us in Mexico. And oh my God, Mexico, what are you doing down there? Please do
I'm
your
crazy,
research. But
apparently.
anyways, yeah. So there is hope, and I appreciate you sharing this because a lot of people are in that situation. So we're definitely going to promote this interview, and we want to see you back. I'd love to see you back, maybe
Yeah.
another 6 months, see how you're doing. Obviously, I mean, like we said, since you are an influencer, I'm going to invite you to do the advanced course on
Okay.
metabolic wellness, and that thing has a lot of science behind it. Suddenly, you're going to be doing these incredible challenges online with all your social media followers and inviting them to change their lives through metabolic wellness by what they eat and what they're in touch with and how their lifestyle is with all the activity you were talking about. Thank you again for sharing.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me on. And again, just thank you so much for what you do. It's amazing.
So you're open about it, so people can find you online.
Yes, they can find me. I am on Instagram at breaking berry, like bariatric underscore ERS. So breaking barriers.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Well, we'll add that to the video feed so people can find you directly, and hopefully, you're changing many lives just like you had yours changed.
Yes, I hope so. That's my goal.
All right. Wonderful. Well, thank you for being on tonight.
Thank you for having me. I
Uh,
appreciate it.
all right. God bless. Bye bye.
Bye.